Here we go.
It's my first one of these, dude. Hey, what's up?
Hey, John.
He thinks he's so funny.
I'm just being very cautious, okay?
Take it. No one can hear you.
I'm just being very cautious, okay?
How are you guys, dude? Y'all doing okay?
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, I gotta turn it up.
Let's turn it up here for a minute.
Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you great. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Yeah, we're doing good. We are, thank the Lord, we're feeling healthy. Our family members are feeling healthy. What about you?
I think we're doing good, man. We're having fun. Hey, did you see
The cold
shout-out
bit?
this morning, dude? That was cold.
I did. That was awesome. I think I texted you or sent you a message or something. I like, as soon as I saw that cold dip, I got so excited. I was like, yep, I know what he's doing.
Yeah.
I've been there before. Oh, yeah.
Man, it's cold in Nashville today. It was cold.
That's crazy. I'm so glad that you're doing that because, like, all my other friends think I'm just nuts and crazy. But it's like, yeah.
Fix your heart and soul, man. It's so good.
I
So
know.
good.
I know. That reset is so important.
For everybody, this is my first Instagram Live I've ever done. I had to download it just now and then hit the buttons, and so that's good. And the way this light is, looks like I'm still part of the vampire Team Edwards, and so that's good. You guys look all tan and beautiful. It looks whatever, dude.
Yellow lights.
Whatever.
We're not tan. Yellow lights.
Yeah, we got lights going on. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
So today, I thought it'd be cool to just give a general check-in and let both of our listeners know that this is something that we have been doing for the past 2 weeks. I think this is the third time, and we want to continue it on Tuesdays just to drop some knowledge, just to help normalize this whole process. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. You're a doctor of counseling, so we got some...
I pretend.
You pretend. Well, I pretend sometimes, but, fake it till you make it, right? Just to share some stuff. Plus, you've been married for a long time. Me and Melanie have been married for about 15 years, and
Forever.
too long. Just to talk to people, interact with people, and just kind of normalize this whole thing. So I think it's pretty cool. We've gotten some good feedback from it so far. So,
But today specifically, we're talking about unrealistic expectations, and that's something that we really wanted to hit on.
yeah.
Cool.
So
unrealistic expectation number one is that your hair is going to look fine. I'm getting this, game show host haircut, dude. It just keeps coming. It's out of its mind. And there's some people here that look so dope, dude. Their roots are growing so fast. It's awesome.
Well, I guess that's funny to think of, it's kind of revealing the truth of who dyes their hair and who doesn't. I never thought about that.
We've all been lying a long time with haircuts and stuff and hats and things. It's cool, man. This is what it is, dude.
yeah.
That's funny. That's too funny.
That reminds me of what I hear Dave say, which is what Warren Buffett says. When the tide goes out, who's skinny dipping?
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
You can see he's not wearing pants.
Yeah.
That is
and
really funny.
I also heard on Walmart that one of the next big things that how people hoarded toilet paper and stuff, people are going to start stockpiling hair dye and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's a weird thought.
This is just the way I'm letting it ride. It's cool,
Yeah.
dude. It's good.
You're going to catch up to Ken.
Hey, so what are how are you guys managing the expectations in your house?
Well,
Okay.
well, first, I'll tell you my thoughts about expectations because we did a whole episode about expectations in our season 1. And one of the coolest things I did in that episode is I interviewed children to have them tell me what they thought expectations were. So, I asked the kids, what do you think an expectation even is? What do you think the definition of expectations are? And the kids said the coolest things. One of the things that, it was my friend's daughters that said this. She was saying expectations are what other people's goals are for your life. So, an expectation is what someone else thinks your life should look like. Right? Which I had never, ever heard worded like that. And then another one was goals based on what someone thinks you can or should do. And it was so that was super eye-opening for me. So during this time, I think my expectation, I'm going to be super, super blunt, with Seth was He's going to be home all the time because he's not supposed to go to work. He's going to see that he has worked too much. He's going to know because he's going to be home and he's going to be like, oh, look what I've been missing. And then he's going to turn into like Mr. Homemaker.
Like
we're going to like snuggle and he's going to make biscuits and it will be like, I don't even know. But that was literally my expectation was he's going to somehow change and do all the things I want him to do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but that's exactly what I was doing.
Did you tell him that, or did you just like let it live in your fantasy house?
I just let it live in my mind, but I kind of I didn't tell him. I blamed him. I got mad at him. I called him and said, they said you're not supposed to come to work. Why are you still at your work? And I used all these different tactics like, you're going to give me the virus, okay? But really what I was trying to do was be like, I really want you home more. And I thought my expectation was you'd be home more and you would love it and you'd like somehow re-fall in love with me because you were home. I don't know. But that's what I did.
That's
so
pretty...
what was Seth?
I wasn't thinking any of that.
He wasn't thinking about me, I'm sure.
No, I was thinking about, okay, how can we make this normal for our kids, for ourselves, and then just this thing that's been sticking with me the whole time. Like, I want, and I think we've talked about this, John, in a couple times we talked. Like, I want to be a man, a husband, a dad, and a worker that looks back 6 months from now, or even 3 months from now, and say, okay, during that COVID-19 stuff, you handled it well, you know? And you looked at where you weren't prepared so much. You did the things you needed to do to get prepared. And you didn't trip out, you know, you weren't like the most stoic person in the world. Like, I got this, nothing's wrong. So I'm still like being in reality here, but also like, hey, we need to tweak this. Let's work on this. And what kind of opportunities are here that I can look at? So I want to look back 3 months from now, 6 months from now and go, you know what? You did that good. That's my expectation, which I don't think it really is that unrealistic.
Yeah.
But maybe one unrealistic thing I had was homeschooling is just going to be like, okay, this is it. We're great. Homeschooling's simple. The kids are going to love it. Melanie's going to be the best.
It's a dream.
Yeah, it's a
so
dream.
easy.
And that just wasn't the case, I guess. So
no, it's not.
Yeah, I think Dave and I were talking about this the other day. I think parents all across the country are realizing it wasn't the teacher's fault that your kids are kind of lame and they're your kids. Not.
Right.
We've all been blaming teachers for years, dude. It's not. It's your dumb kids.
Yeah, I know. Now what we know what the teacher's been talking about now.
Right.
For real. I think teachers and nurses need to make about $1 billion and then just kind of flip the, but whatever, dude.
Yeah.
So, okay, so here's my expectations. I was going to learn Latin and piano, and I was going to do yoga. I was going to get like super flexible and like do intermittent fasting every day. One, to like conserve meals just in case the apocalypse happened, but also to, and dude, I gained like 76 pounds and I learned no new languages at all, and I kind of just devolved into listening to old rap CDs and eating. That's just kind of how I'm just shoving Corona down all the way. And yeah, I had these visions that homeschooling was going to go awesome and that my wife was going to be like, dude, this is our new life and we should probably just buy a farm and move on to it. And yeah, it was not real. None of it was real.
Yeah.
So 4 weeks in, this was the week that, like, week 1 was, we're going to go learn Latin and how to bench press more, and then week 2 was like, this is cool, funny memes, and week 3 was like, this is kind of lame, and then yesterday when I woke up, I was like, I'm out. Like, I don't even want to get up. Like, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Right? And then I talked to Rachel Cruz yesterday, and she was like, oh, man, we just hit our stride, and now we're so I know everybody's at a different place. Where are you guys at right now, week 4, week 5?
That's funny that you described it like that, because it is like, you know, like they describe the stages of grief, like Elizabeth Kubler-Ross kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, there are different stages and like 4 seasons all just really crammed into 4 weeks, basically, because it was like, okay, this is real. So like the acceptance phase of it, well, I guess that comes last in the stages of grief. But the like, okay, this is real. Like I said, it's almost like when the power goes out, you know. For the first night, it's like, ooh, yeah, let's camp out in the living room and we'll like make a little fire and candles and it's super cozy. But on the 3rd and 4th day, you're like, This is out. I'm going to fill my tank, car full of gas, and I'm driving. I don't care where I end up. I'm getting away. But so for us, it was like, okay, this is real. Let's go get some food. Let's stock up. Let's make sure we got what we need, right? And then when the homeschooling thing hit, it's like, okay, we're going to rally. We can do this. And it was cool. I would take the kids out to the woods, and we would study like flood stages of rivers and like all the new spring growth is like, all the stuff. And I texted Melanie when we were out there. I was like, homeschool is the best thing ever. This is so awesome. It's great. Kids are like reacting so good. And then like the third week, I don't think I took them out to the woods.
No, you did, and they were like, we don't want to go to the woods.
Oh, yeah,
again.
they were bored of the
They
woods.
just were like, we've learned everything about the woods.
Yeah. And then now we're in the fourth week, and it is just like, okay, this is kind of like in the diet phase where you're like, oh, yeah, this same thing every day sucks, but
Right, you gotta grind it out.
let's just grind it out. And this is our reality. So I think unrealistic expectations is basically the perfect topic that we can talk about, I think, because now is when the honeymoon phase of all this stuff, everybody's homeschooling, working from home is great, and all this stuff, that's over, right? So how can we...
I never would have imagined having a building full of 1,000 millennials here at Ramsey Solutions dying to get back to work. Everyone wants to come into the building, right? And for the years, like, man, can we just work at home, work from home? And now everyone's like, man, can we please, God Almighty, come back?
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think...
So, Melanie, I'm going to ask you this, because you're the only woman on this call. So for all of womankind here, what are some expectations that you're seeing across your tribe that are unrealistic for an expectation of a wife and of a mom and a partner and a homeschooler and a work from homer? Like, what are some things, especially in light of, I love those kids definitions. That was great. Of somebody else's vision of what you're supposed to be doing. What are people carrying around with them right now?
Well, there's always been this pressure as a mom, especially like a younger mom with elementary age kids, that you will be able to do absolutely everything for your kid. So if they're going to take piano lessons, and they're going to do soccer, and you're going to do crafts at home, and you're going to make homemade biscuits every weekend or whatever it is. So there's already this like massive laundry list of things that make you a good mom or a good wife. And a lot of and this is kind of in the circles we run in church circles and stuff. You're going to have, your kids are going to have matching outfits from like really cute stores, and it will be amazing. And they're going to look really modern, right? And no, our kids always look like Goodwill exploded onto children. And that's pretty much the truth. But what's hard about that is that now kids are home all the time. Moms have even less time to like decompress at the end of the day. It's harder to navigate with their spouses. So there's kind of this like stuff's coming to a head, and we don't know where to put the blame because we have to teach our kids. We don't want to get mad at our kids. We can't get mad at our husbands because then they can't help us with our kids. So there's this weird kind of tension that I see floating around where we don't really know what to do. And one of the things I would say as an answer to that is talk to other women who have your back and like want you to succeed, and vent where it's safe to vent, and vent constructively, if that makes sense. We don't want to tear apart our families. We don't want to tear apart our husbands or ourselves, but we do need to kind of get this stuff out and say, oh my God, like even yesterday, our kids are wonderful. They're all full of energy. They're all just like us. They woke up and like two of them immediately got in a fight over who shuffled the cards wrong. And that was how our morning started. And I'm like, who do I talk to about this? Because I don't want to fill my day with like garbage thoughts. So I reached out to my community of women in Maple Valley, and I was like, y'all, homeschooling did not start out great. Send up a prayer for me. And that's even just that is really helpful. So kind of understanding, taking a look at what all of the expectations are of us as mothers and women and parents is really helpful. And then kind of reevaluating to be like, okay, I need to chill out. I just need to chill out. And that brings me to one of my points that I wanted to bring up today was that, especially in the spouse relationship and even with your children, understanding that your partner has expectations as well. Like, I've got mine, but so does Seth, right? He has expectations that I might act a certain way. And giving each other grace is so important during this time. And understanding, like, this might be triggering fears. The whole COVID-19 thing might be triggering something in Seth that I don't understand at all. I'm not a man who brings home the check, who does the insurance, who buys our cars, but he is. Mm-hmm. And the fears that it's going to bring up in him are so different than the fears it's going to bring up in me. And kind of having that balance of being able to think about it more, collectively and openly, mm-hmm. and then also talk about it with your spouse, I think is really helpful. Mm-hmm. But there's so many things.
Practically speaking, how do you, in your house, how do y'all two set up those moments? So I've been saying a lot that communication is not connection. And so now that we're working from home and homeschooling from home, and we're kind of co-running a house together now, we're doing a lot of communication, a lot of, hey, this starts at 8 and need to make sure we get this done, and I need that. That's not connection, right? That is business work. Mm. And it's hard to be intentional about saying, okay, work day is over, school day is over, now I'm going to look you in the eye and say, how are you doing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it feels weird. We've been together all day, or we're passing each other all day, but one is connection and one's communication. So how do y'all two set up those moments of connection in your house?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Communication is not connection. Because, maybe some people find it connecting, but we definitely don't. And I think the majority of our listeners don't either. What time is this? Where are you going to be here? That's not connecting. That's logistics, right? And our marriage is not in the logistics business. Partially it is, just to make our house run well. But that's not why we got married, because she's a good planner and I'm a good doer. That's not why we got married. So what we do practically is we talked about this on the show, but I completed this thing called the 75 Hard program, 75 days of very straight, intentional things, and now she's doing it. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm on another phase of it. So actually, we work out together. We take walks together. We take a minimum of 1 45-minute walk every single day, no matter what the weather. And usually, kids just stay here and we go walking, mm-hmm. and we talk about our day. We talk about our conversations that we had with our parents, with my grandma who's 93, how's she doing, about future plans that we have,
the books that we're reading,
goals. So it's very much, there's some logistic stuff in there, but it's more of a connecting thing. Mm-hmm. And so that's been super helpful. And we used to do this thing called quitting time, and where it's like, okay, we're quitting. It's quitting time at like maybe 8 p.m. And it's kind of like a job. Like, okay, you clock out at 5, but I'm not saying clock out of the marriage. Yeah. It's like quitting time. I'm not, I don't have my phone. I'm not talking about business. I'm not talking about anatomy of marriage stuff. I'm not talking about bills. It's quitting time. It's just her and I and the kids. Like last night we did that, and Tough, our middle kid, went out and built a fire in our fire pit. Mm-hmm. And he did a great job, and it was like a real legit fire, and of course we watch him and stuff. But he's really good at that. And then, guess what? We all went out there and just sat. Mm-hmm. It was like 8 p.m. The sun was going down. It was beautiful. So that was our quitting time. So during this time of all the craziness that's going on, we have to make that intentional. So that's what we do. Mm-hmm. I'll ask you, and I know you're doing 35 days of your wellness challenge. 30 days of your wellness challenge. What have you been doing, not on the individual level, but on the spouse, marriage, and family level?
So we've had a unique situation. So the best way, I think one of the expectations I want to talk about is this idea of grief, and we talked about this a little bit last time, but the idea of grieving what used to be grieving. My wife was about to launch a business, and it was in ashes before it even got launched, because it was all about connection, right? In-person connection. And so I grieve differently than she does. And I think one of the biggest frustrations any group of people can have, either large scale or small scale, is when we start expecting other people to grieve in certain ways, or saying like, you're taking too long, or you didn't grieve this enough, or I grieve by getting alone, and I grieve by So we've been wrestling with what does that grief look like in our house? Like, I took a job that a big portion of my income would be public speaking. Well, we may not be able to have public speeches for the next year, right, or the next 18 months. And so how do I need to pivot? And so I'm in my head a lot, and she wanted to start a business that was like a retreat business. People come to the house and spend time with us, and renewal. Can't do that either, right? So we have a grieving cycle now. What we've continued to do, we've done this for a long time, and this hasn't changed, is we have an evening event in our house called Chit Chat. And so we are like, I get home and the kids come say hi and they'll roll their eyes and they're like, oh, they got a Chit Chat. And they literally know no kids are allowed in this moment. Like, you got to go away.
Yeah.
And we just sit there and say, how was today? And sometimes we just stare at each other because, the day was just a routine day. And I'm still wearing makeup from some video shoot. She just has a hard time like that. Sometimes we talk about, hey, I heard this on the news, that this park's kind of freaking me out. And so it's just a debrief time where we're together right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's our chit-chatting. And then last night we set up a date, and a musician and his wife that we love was playing old 90s covers, and we watched that together on the laptop. And so it's not as good as a show, but it was the next best thing, and it was a lot of fun. So we're trying to be intentional about date nights and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
but
awesome.
We're not doing a great job. Like, hear me say, we're figuring this out as we go, right? This is new for us, especially two people who love connecting with other people.
Mm-hmm.
This is particularly challenging.
Yeah, I think that the understanding of, and we're just trying the best we can. And what I hear in that also is, hey, honey, hey, spouse, or whatever, we both don't know everything about this, right? The future is uncertain. But you know what we're going to do? We're in this together, and we're going to give grace, and we're going to be gracious, and we're going to act also graceful, right? So we're not going to be ugly. We're not going to say, trippy things. And if we do, we're going to come back. Oh, did the feed? And if we do, okay, we're going to come back and say, hey, I don't know what that was about. I apologize for that, and let's move forward. So it really is about, come on, y'all. Let's give some grace to each other, because guess what? I don't know any more about COVID-19 or going through a pandemic than Melanie does. We're both equal.
Making it up as we go, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
But be kind and graceful. I love it. I love it.
Exactly.
So what's your Melanie? Give us some parting wisdom.
Parting
What's
wisdom.
Some expectation wisdom.
Honestly, one of the things that I think is the most helpful for me, and I wish someone would tell me or have told me in the beginning of this, is make your expectations known as clearly and explicitly as you can without it starting a fight. Do not blame. Don't. So let me start over. I wish that I had said to Seth, man, wouldn't it be so fun if now that you don't have to go into work all the time, you could stay home and we could take more walks together and we could cook together and we could do these things. I would love that. Just start with, I would love that. Like, that's a way where you're expressing the thing you want, which is really your expectation, but express it as a want as opposed to, why didn't you? Or how come you never? Yeah. Like, don't make it a jab. Don't start with why, because why is an accusation, right? And so I think as we're going through this time where things are all up in the air, we don't really know what's going on, be very clear about what things would make you feel good, what would make you happy, what would make you feel connected. But don't start with, because that's what I always do. I always start with the reverse. Why don't you ever? How come you don't? Why aren't you this,
So let me just add to that, John. So in that, she's saying her wants, right? I would love if. That doesn't mean you have to do this or else I'm going to get all weird, right? So I can hear her desires in that, and then I can, because we've been married for a minute, and I think this is wise to all the guys out there, and again, I'm not the best at this, but what is the underlying thing of that? I would love for you to be here. I would love to take walks. I would love to connect and feel safe with you.
Do we pause?
We're good?
Hold on, I can't hear you now.
Hold on.
Oh, man. We can't hear you now.
Can't hear you.
We can't hear you. We don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Sorry, we can't hear you, so...
He's probably ending up on his thing, so...
We gotta cut it?
We gotta go. We can't hear you. It's funny. The people on here, turn this around. This would be funny. Watch. Ready? We can't hear him. We don't know if
Melissa.
he knows that he can hear us.
What's up? Hey, Lily. Thank you for all those things.
Yes.
Send an email. I noticed that you were saying a lot. John, we can't hear you, buddy.
I know. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Sorry. All right, man.
See you
I'll
later.
text you later.
Oh, that was cute.
Dang it.
All right. Well, we'll end
Okay,
here.
hold on.
'cause
Let's see.
his thing-
Rachel, what's up? You guys, I hope you think this is fun. We love doing the I don't know,
lives.
interaction and stuff. And catch us tomorrow. Actually,
Catch us in
catch us
10
in
minutes.
about 30 minutes. We're going live with Anthony O'Neill. He's another Ramsey personality.
He's got
Student loan crisis, being single, all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be rad.
dating, all those things.
Dating,
So
that's
it's
right.
awesome.
All right.
All right.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.